The supreme commander of the Zion Empire, a quivering blur of gelatinous mass, stood proudly before the massive holographic display. Their translucent form, rippling with neural patterns, vibrated with what passed for excitement in their species. The shifting lights on their body created a dazzling light show, almost beautiful, if it weren't so terribly indicative of their excitement. To any observer, it was as though the commander was broadcasting a clear message. I'm about to do something incredibly stupid, in bioluminescent Morse code. But that wasn't important right now. With an air of triumph, Bleer, the supreme commander, announced to the assembled war council, "Behold my fellow conquerors." Their gelatinous appendages quivered with enthusiasm. "I have devised the perfect strategy to subjugate the troublesome Earth humans once and for all." From the back of the chamber, Second Commander Squish, a much more cautious member of the council, felt an immediate sense of alarm. Their danger detection glands began to tingle. The last time Bleer had boasted about a perfect strategy, they had tried to conquer Canada by stealing all the maple syrup. That diplomatic incident had been catastrophic, and as far as Squish was concerned, the less said about it the better. As Bleer continued, oblivious to the nervous reactions of the council, their body flashed a vibrant shade of blue, signaling a new plan. "Our extensive research has shown," Bleer continued, completely unaware of the collective groan from their senior staff, "that human children, or kids, as they call them, are kept in specialized containment facilities for approximately 8 Earth cycles of their solar rotation. These schools, as they are known, gather the young humans in convenient, centralized locations." Squish hesitated before raising one of their pseudopods. "Supreme Commander, perhaps we should review the data on human parental protective instincts before we proceed," they suggested cautiously. "Not now, Squish, I'm monologuing," Bleer snapped, their body flashing an irritated magenta. Squish, unbothered by the rebuke, crossed their appendages and sighed. Bleer's body flickered with pride as they gestured toward the holographic display, which now showed images of Earth's elementary schools. "Now observe the brilliance of my plan." Bleer's voice oozed with overconfidence. "We simply need to collect these undefended children and hold them hostage. The adult humans will have no choice but to surrender." The hologram shifted to display images of human children, who appeared to be doing exactly what Bleer had described: finger painting, eating paste, and generally being defenseless. "Look how perfect it is," Bleer declared, wobbling slightly on their hover platform, their body quivering with uncontainable glee. "The young are clearly defenseless. They spend their time finger painting and eating paste. Their guards are elderly humans armed with nothing more than rulers and gold stars." Squish, who had seen far too many plans go awry, felt a deep sense of dread creeping up their spine. They raised another pseudopod tentatively. "Sir, with all due respect, my analysis of human entertainment media suggests this might be unwise. There's a documentary called Taken that might—" "Enough," Bleer interrupted, their body flashing with annoyance. "The plan is perfect." Bleer's form glowed with waves of smug satisfaction. "What could possibly go wrong? These are just primitive bipeds who haven't even mastered faster-than-light travel. Their most advanced weapons are barely capable of planetary devastation." An uncomfortable silence filled the War Council chamber. Squish, who had been around long enough to know when something was bound to go horribly wrong, felt their anxiety glands begin to secrete an overwhelming sense of dread. The silence stretched, broken only by the sound of Squish's stress-induced molting. "What's the worst that could happen?" Bleer added, their tone dripping with condescension. "It's not like they can reach our base on Proxima Centauri b. They don't even have proper starships. The most they can do is shake their fists at the sky and make strongly worded protests to their United Nations." Reluctantly, the rest of the council began to prepare for what Bleer had dubbed Operation Child's Play, a name Bleer found utterly hilarious. Squish, however, quietly updated their will and started researching distant planets suitable for exile. They had a sinking feeling they would need both very soon. Mark my words, Bleer declared triumphantly, their body glowing bright with enthusiasm. This time next solar rotation, Earth will be just another jewel in the crown of the Zion Empire. Now, who's ready to go collect some human larvae? The responding silence was deafening. Yet, as usual, Bleer didn't notice. They were too busy practicing their victory speech and designing uniforms for their future honor guard of conquered Earth children. Somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the cosmic forces of karma began warming up for what promised to be a spectacular display of I told you so. As it turned out, collecting human larvae was significantly more complicated than Bleer had anticipated. For one thing, they hadn't accounted for what Squish's report had ominously labeled the most terrifying force in the known universe: elementary school teachers. Fall back, screamed Captain Zilch as Miss Martinez's fourth-grade class unleashed a barrage of dodgeballs with terrifying accuracy. They're using projectile weapons, Zilch cried in disbelief as his soldiers took cover behind a jungle gym. The invasion of Springfield Elementary was not going according to plan. 3 Zion soldiers had already been incapacitated by something called craft glitter, a substance their alien senses couldn't even detect. But somehow it got everywhere. 2 more were trapped in the jungle gym, their gelatinous bodies having flowed through the bars in panic. And now they couldn't reform properly. Squish, watching from their command ship, reported, "We're receiving similar reports from all invasion sites. The humans are not cooperating." On the main screen, they could see a kindergarten teacher in Ohio calmly shepherding her students to safety while wielding a jump rope like a lion tamer. Meanwhile, in Texas, an entire squad of alien warriors had been cornered in the cafeteria by a lunch lady who was advancing menacingly with a spatula. Minor setbacks, Bleer insisted. Their body cycled through color changes faster than a disco ball. Deploy the sleep gas. It always works in the simulations. It didn't, however, work in real life, especially since the aliens hadn't accounted for one crucial detail. Human children, hyped up on sugar from the school bake sale, were practically immune to sedatives. Meanwhile, back at the Pentagon, Admiral Kate, don't call me Katie Thompson, was having the strangest day of her military career. And considering that she'd once had to explain to the Joint Chiefs why a submarine crew had taught a pod of dolphins to sing Sweet Home Alabama, that was saying something. "Let me get this straight," she said, pinching the bridge of her nose. "Aliens are trying to kidnap our kids, and they're losing?" "Yes, ma'am," her aide confirmed, struggling to keep a straight face. "We've got reports of 3rd graders in Wisconsin who turned their cafeteria into a fortress. They're using milk cartons as projectiles and have somehow weaponized mystery meat. The teachers, Miss Johnson's AP History class, for example, have barricaded themselves in the library, using textbooks as improvised armor. They've even organized a resistance movement. The aliens are particularly terrified of something they're calling the Hall Monitor Militia." Admiral Thompson allowed herself a small smile. "And our response? Every branch of the military is mobilizing, ma'am," her aide reported. But honestly, the PDA got there first. On the main screen, footage showed a convoy of minivans and SUVs converging on schools across the country. Soccer moms, who normally argued about bake sale schedules, were now coordinating tactical maneuvers with military precision. Dad jokes were being weaponized to devastating effect. The aliens had no defense against the psychological warfare of repeated "hi, hungry, I'm dad" responses. Back in space, Squish was watching their career and possibly their species' future implode in real time. "Supreme Commander," they reported with a heavy voice, "we've lost contact with Beta Squad." Apparently, they made the mistake of interrupting nap time at a preschool in Minnesota. But Bleer's body had settled into a sickly green color. The simulation said this would be easy. They're just children. At that moment, every communication channel suddenly crackled to life. Admiral Thompson's face appeared on screens across the alien fleet. "This is Earth to the aliens currently getting there, but's kicked by our kindergartners," she announced, not bothering to hide her amusement. "I feel I should warn you, those were just the kids. The parents are on their way, and they're not happy." As if on cue, Earth's atmosphere lit up with thousands of launching spacecraft. Apparently, humanity had been holding back on revealing quite a few technological advances. "Oh, and one more thing," Admiral Thompson added with a predatory smile. "You interrupted soccer practice. The soccer moms want a word with you." Squish turned to Bleer, who had gone completely transparent with fear. "Supreme Commander, remember how you asked what the worst that could happen was?" "Yes," Bleer murmured, their body trembling with dread. "War, we're about to find out." The Zion Empire, battered and broken, withdrew from Earth's atmosphere in a frantic retreat. The last of their ships, a mess of tangled limbs and burnt-out circuits, limped toward the edge of the solar system. On Earth, the chaos had subsided. Children, proudly displaying their victories with glitter-streaked faces and battle-worn uniforms, returned to their classrooms. Teachers, now hailed as heroes, began the long process of restoring order with a newfound sense of respect for their power. Admiral Thompson watched from her command center as the last alien vessel disappeared into space. She leaned back, her smile widening. "Well, that's one way to win a war," she said, tapping her fingers on the table. "And next time, we're keeping the PDA on standby." The world had survived. Humanity had won, not through advanced weaponry or diplomacy, but through sheer willpower, teamwork, and the simple, yet deadly, force of parenthood and snack breaks.